It is Tuesday, July 29th, midday. I thought I'd do a quick update because I wanted to show specifically how I'm making the holes precise enough on the beams that are going to go on the front of the Quonset hut to hold up the little roof. But before I do that, let me just show you some other quick little things that I've gotten done and what still needs to be done. So, flipping over here. All right. These are the next set of spanner boards that will go between the squares on one side of the Quonset hut. They have been given 3 coats and sanded and then a final coat, and they are nice and smooth. So the adhesive on the back of the LED strips should adhere to that pretty nicely. Unfortunately, I still have one set to go. So these are roughly painted. I think they've got at least 1 coat on each side, but they need to get 2 more coats and sanded and a final coat. Also, I'm going to put these strips up, but I'm not going to put the LED lights up on this strip here just yet, because what I want to do before I'm ready to seal everything up is I want to power wash this wall all the way up in the ceiling, maybe even do some of that foam insulation all the way, because I can see some daylight over here and I have a feeling it's probably letting some bugs in. So I want to get that all sealed up and cleaned, because these LED lights are not waterproof. So even with the 2 strips I have right now, I'm probably going to have to cover maybe the first 6 feet with a plastic bag, trash bag, just to prevent any spray back from the power washer on this wall. Because yeah, I mean, I have no idea what it's going to do to them, but they say it's not waterproof, so I'm not going to let it get wet. Anyway, so now I am working on these 2 beams here. These are 4x4 treated lumber that will get mounted to the front of the Quonset hut that will support that little small 16-inch roof that just sticks out. It's just going to be nothing but a piece of aluminum sheeting that I cut and basically screw to it. But what's a challenge is that I have to get the position of these holes just right, because the last thing you want to happen is you get these all prepared, you drill the holes, get everything ready, get it all painted, you get the scaffolding up, you get the beam up there, and you're ready to install it, and the holes don't line up. Yeah, that would be a nightmare. So what I've done is, first thing I've done is I've already cut these to length. So they are as long as they are going to be. And there is going to be a gap in the middle here, maybe like a 3-inch gap, because these have end grains that'll get water in them. Even though I'm going to paint them, eventually the paint will fail, but I want air to be able to get in between them and just dry them out. So yeah, there will be a small gap there. So I did a little test piece here. I'm going to take you into the light a little bit more. And this is what's happening. I need to cut the 4x4 along its length, along this line here. This is about 30 degrees here. It's roughly a 7/12 pitch roof. But before I make this cut, I need to drill the holes for the bolts. They're carriage bolts, 5/16 carriage bolts that are going to go through here. They're going to come through from this side and bolt on the inside of the Quonset hut. Let me just quickly show you that. I've got all the backing boards in place for that. They're all ready to go. But what I did was I drilled a hole everywhere there's going to be a carriage bolt. And that actually goes through the 2x6 and out through the aluminum. And then I put a screw in each one. And that screw sticks out just a little bit on the outside. Let me show you. You can see where it sticks out, like there's one, there's one, there's one. So I know exactly where those bolt holes are going to be. So what I did was, now that I know from the outside where it's going to be, where the bolts have to go through the building, I got the scaffolding up there and I took a piece of fairing strips and I just held it up there, two of them, one here for the left one and one here for the right one, and I just pushed them against those screw points to mark exactly where the bolts will go through the aluminum sheeting and hold the 4x4 to the front of the building. So that is here. That's these strips. Let's see if I can get this right. Get this. So this is the left beam. See if I can zoom out a bit. I guess I can't. Yeah. All right, so you can see I've marked it left, right, top, bottom, and then these are the holes where the screw points hit the wood. So then I have a template now. I've got this template and I put it on the 4x4. And I'll show you over here. This is, let me turn this over. This is the side that's going to face the building. So I put the template on there and I just I drilled through and I made a hole. Every place there's a hole on the template. So now the hole right at the interface between this 4x4 and the building should be very, very close to where it needs to be. So then what I did was I used a drill and I drilled I think it's like a 3/16 hole all the way through the 4x4. And then that will give me a starting point to drill from the backside with a spade bit so that the head of, this carriage bolt will have space to come all the way through. It'll actually come into the beam about 1.5 inches like that. Let me hold that up on the test piece. Where is it? Okay. So yeah, here's my test piece. There's the cut that I'm going to make. Then this bolt will sit right about there. And I need to be able to get this head, this 1/2 inch head in there. So I'm using a spade bit to drill a hole to here to let this come through, and then it'll bolt through the sheathing and then that those 2x6s that I've got mounted between the studs. So the small hole, the 3/16 inch hole, actually makes a drill path for the larger spade bit. So let me show you that. So this was the drill. This was the drill for making these holes. And they go all the way through. Then I turn it over, turn the board over, and using the hole that comes through the other side, I use this spade bit to go down 2 inches into the material. And that will allow me to put that carriage bolt in there far enough. Now the only thing I have left to do is to the small hole in here I've got to make bigger for 5/16, but I wanted to keep it small originally because I didn't know if drilling using the spade bit would follow the hole that I had drilled previously. I wanted to keep it kind of small. And surprisingly, it worked pretty well. I don't know if you can see this, but that one's not. Yeah, okay. Maybe you can see this. There's light coming through there, and the hole is almost precisely centered in there. Yeah, there you go. You can see that. So yeah, it actually followed the original hole almost exactly, which is what I needed. And so then once I have all these holes drilled, I can go ahead and cut at this angle here so that I'm not trying to drill here on an angled piece of wood. This will already be drilled. I'll have the smaller hole here, and then I can just go ahead and cut this off. So that's what I'm working on today. I think I just have to do this other one. This one's done, except for enlarging the through hole for the 5/16 carriage bolt. And then this one I should get done fairly quickly because everything seems to be working. And then I'll put it through the table saw to cut it off at an angle and then start painting them. And within a couple of days, they're going to need 3 coats. So yeah, 3 days, 3 coats. Maybe by Saturday I can start putting these up. So yeah, that's what's going on. And in the meantime, I'm getting a facial because it's brutally hot and humid today. Oh man, I'm just like dripping with sweat. So anyway, that's what I'm working on. So I'll see you in the next one. All right, Wednesday, July 30th. Time for a quick update. Didn't get a whole lot done today except for some painting, but yesterday I did finish up cutting the beams that are going to get mounted on the outside of the Quonset hut over the garage door. Let me flip this around, I'll show you. So these are the beams that I put through the table saw. I got the profiles cut. You can see like right here, it's this cut here. I had to do it, I had to put it through twice because the blade only goes about halfway through, and to flip it around and cut the other way through. So these are just about ready to install. I put 1 single coat of paint on. They need probably 2 more. So it's a couple days to let them dry in between. And the only thing I'll have to do is to enlarge the holes over here in the aluminum from the outside to allow the 5/16 carriage bolts to go through. Right now I think it's just like a 1/4 inch or something like that, small hole, but that's no big deal. And then I continued on painting this last set of boards that stretch between the squares mounted on the ceiling. So this is coat number 2. A couple more days of painting that and they should be ready to go up. And I don't know if I mentioned it before, but I did get these boards mounted on one side. So they're all done. That was the ones that I had finished the other day. And they're ready for the strip light, the LED strip lighting to go on, but I'm going to hold off on that because I think I mentioned I want to power wash this wall, and I don't want these lights getting wet because they're not waterproof. So that's it really. Oh, well, actually one more thing. I started laying out the aluminum that I'm going to use for the little roof over the garage. I'm going to have to cut this out of some other aluminum sheets that I had. I've got them, actually can't use a factory edge because of this hole here. And this one's a little bit messed up, so I'm gonna just move it in. So that's what I have to cut. And I actually ordered, I ordered a circular saw blade that is used for cutting non-ferrous materials, so it'll cut through aluminum. I mean, I have the angle grinder, but that is a lot of board feet to cut just for that, that little piece of aluminum. I think the circular saw should make it a lot easier. So once I get this one done, I'll have to do the same thing on this other sheet. And then I'll have two of the pieces, and they'll overlap a little bit, maybe 3 or 4 inches, and I'll just caulk between them. So yeah, that's it. Moving forward on that, hopefully by Saturday, Sunday, I should have that little roof up, and then hopefully I'll have the garage doors next week. Because I did get an email saying that they have been sent to my local dealer, whoever the hell that is, and that once they receive them, they'll contact me and schedule delivery. So who knows when they're going to show up, but hopefully it's either late this week or early next week. Okay, that's it for today. All right, Thursday, July 31st, last day of July. I am definitely looking forward to some less humid, slightly cooler days. Not in August, but probably September, October. I mean, look at it. It is humid. Anyway, what did I get done today? Let me flip this. And these guys up here, on the outside, let's go outside for a second. I caulked all of the old holes that may have been used for something else. Oh, there, oops, wait, that's not good. There's an example of one. It was basically where they had lag bolted through the aluminum right to the studs. So I'm going a different route. I've got those backing boards between the studs, and I've spaced out my holes. So I've also taken these holes and widened them to a little bit better than 5/16 so the bolt goes through, and I've tested it so that it goes through. When I get up there, I'm not trying to bang it through there and it's not going. So they all fit. And so when I'm ready, everything here is ready to go. Inside these boards, I put a coat of paint on them. Tomorrow I've got to sand them, the surface, and then do a final coat of paint, and then they're ready to go up. And then over here, I did a little sanding on these guys. There was a little ridge between where I ran it through the saw, and the saw blade came to about here, and then flipped it over, and the saw blade came to about here. There's just a slight ridge there. So I actually spent some time to sand that down, and it's pretty flat now. I mean, you can still see it. I don't know if it shows up on camera. I can still barely see it right there, but you run your finger over it, it's smooth. Yeah, so that's good. And what else? Oh yeah, I finally got this last square installed because the coupling nuts came today, so I got that one put up. So we're ready to put up those spanner boards once they've been sanded and painted. So other than that, I've just done a little bit of maintenance around the house. I sprayed some poison ivy plants because last year I got a bad case of poison ivy, so I do not want to deal with that again. So I bought some poison ivy killer off of Amazon, and I used the whole gallon, and I'm just making sure that it's all dead before I go back and start raking up leaves around the house. So yeah, I think we're making progress, and that's about it for today. Talk to you in the next one. Okay, it's Friday, August 1st. Time to wrap the week up with a quick update. So let me swing the camera around and let you know what's going on. All right. So you've seen this table many times before, but there are the spanner boards that have been sanded and have the final coat of paint on them. So tomorrow they will go up on that side of the ceiling, and it'll basically do what this is here. So that'll be done, ready for the LED strip lighting to go after I've done the power washing of this whole front wall, so I don't get these things wet. They're not waterproof. And then I have these smaller 2x4s, I'm calling them outriggers, that will be part of the roof system that's going to get mounted on the front of the Quonset hut. I'll show you exactly how they work in a minute, but basically it's just a short 2x4 with an angle cut on it like that. They probably need one more coat of paint, but they're almost there. And then these are the beams that will carry the roof above the garage door. And these two 2x4s will also be part of this beam when I'm done, and I'll show you why that is. It has to do with the width of the metal that comes out from the building and how to support it. So basically these two 2x4s are going to get screwed to the bottom edge of this beam here. Oh, I'm sorry, no. This is the back, this is the bottom, so it'll be here like that. And that basically will just lower the outrigger that's going to come out like this to support the metal as it basically just follows this line here out and down. So let me just show you a little model of that I got going on here. So this was my original test piece for the beams that will support the roof. This is the back of the building, or the front of the building. Just think of this here, this piece of plywood, as the wall. It gets mounted with the screws through here and to the wall. So those 2x4s that I just showed you are here. Of course, it'll go all the way along this beam here. And then the outriggers will just get mounted, screwed this way, and they will support the aluminum that comes down from the roof all the way to here, and it will hang out maybe about 3.5 inches. So the reason for this 2x4 was to lower this outrigger so that I could get support further out on the aluminum sheeting that will become the roof. So with this, I'm only hanging out there about 3.5 inches. And I'm thinking, I mean, if I really wanted to, I could put like another piece of sheet on here and just rivet them together if I wanted to extend this out even further, because this will support anything that maybe gets put on top of it. And this setup will give me, I think, about 14 inches, 13 3/4 if I recall. Let's see here, 13, yeah, almost just shy of 14 inches from the building. So for example, that roof, the aluminum roof, will stick out about 14 inches. So it's not a whole lot, but it may be just enough to keep like rain from splashing in and getting into the Quonset hut. So yeah, to be about that far out. And I mean, I wanted it to be more than the little roof over the fan boxes, which was only 11 inches. So I went from 11 all the way to almost 14. Actually, that actually over the fan boxes only sticks out maybe about 9.5, 10 inches, but the length of the sheathing or the aluminum sheet was about 11 inches. So whatever that is out from the building. But with a 16-inch piece of aluminum, it sticks out about 13.75 inches. And I mean, there is a lot of building here, so I hope it is proportional to just this big flat space. I mean, obviously there's going to be a garage door in here, but there's a lot of space going on here. And I do have some plans that I'm working on right now for some outdoor lighting that will be on both sides of the garage door. There'll be some three vertical lights on each side. I'm going to do like an industrial look, big blocky industrial type lighting. So we'll see how that turns out. And then what else do we have? Yeah, I'm still waiting for my non-ferrous saw blade to come so I can cut this. This metal sheeting, this is actually going to be the roof material. And then when I cut that one, I'll do the same thing over here, and they will overlap by about 4 inches or so and get caulked in between. So that's about it, really. I think there's a lot of things about to come to completion, and you'll see things actually get put into place next week. But for now, it was just a lot of prep work, painting of boards, designing of details, things like that. So hopefully next week it'll be a little bit more exciting. Anyway, talk to you on the next one.